Hello everyone, it's Ayeesha here, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So first I'll be talking about meditation and its benefits, and then I'll be guiding you through a meditation exercise. I will be referring to a book called The Mind Illuminated, which I borrowed from a good friend. So in a way, this episode is kind of dedicated to them because I learned a lot from the chapters that I managed to get through. So I'll leave a link to the book in the description, but this book is not meant to be read in one go or in one sitting, as meditation is definitely not something you can pick up in one day. It takes a lot of time, courage, and dedication to kind of master mindfulness. So just going to read one section from the book to start off with. When we lack mindfulness in daily life, we become so entangled in our own thoughts and emotions that we forget the bigger picture. Our perspective narrows and we lose our way. We do and say regretful things that cause needless suffering to ourselves and others. Mindfulness allows us to recognize our options, choose our responses wisely, and take control over the direction of our lives. It also gives us the power to change our past conditioning and become the person we want to be. Most importantly, mindfulness leads to insight, wisdom, and awakening. So one thing that I took away from that paragraph is that there are two ways to deal with a situation. So you either respond to a situation or you react to a situation. So a reaction is a natural human response. It's emotion driven. So say someone tells you a joke, your natural reaction is to laugh at the joke. You don't kind of plan out how long you're going to laugh. Like, you don't mentally tell yourself, okay, that joke was funny, I'm going to laugh for 3 seconds. It's just a natural reaction. And then you can respond to a situation as well. So a response is has a bit more thought put into it. A good example is if you kind of received a message from a friend, you can then respond to that message, and I guess you're writing out your response, right? So you're giving a bit more thought than you would give to a reaction. So we naturally react to situations depending on our state of emotion. So say we had a difficult day, a difficult situation at work, you might already be feeling quite irritable or frustrated. So if someone kind of says something that kind of gets on your nerves a little bit, you might, react in a way that you're not happy with. And that's because a reaction is driven by emotion. So you're not thinking about the response that you're giving. And I believe that the more you practice mindfulness, the more you become aware of yourself and how you react to situations, you can kind of get more in tune with it, and you will then kind of want to pay attention to how you respond and be more mindful of the way that you respond to situations. So attention analyzes our experience, and peripheral awareness provides the context. So when there isn't enough interaction between the two, we can then respond to a situation less effectively, or we may overreact or make a poor decision or misinterpret what's going on. So during meditation, you are meant to maintain peripheral awareness without requiring full attention. So being aware of your surroundings, but not making it the full focus. So instead of being in the driver's seat, you're in the passenger seat. So any new sensation, thought, or feeling first appears in peripheral awareness, and it's here that the mind decides whether or not this thing is important enough to become an object of attention. So peripheral awareness filters out the unimportant information. Attention can also browse the objects in peripheral awareness, searching for something that's relevant or important. But what we do with attention trains our peripheral awareness to kind of select specific things. So for example, if you're interested in birds, your peripheral awareness will kind of learn to keep watch for flying feathered objects. When awareness takes in something that might be of interest, it frees attention from its current object and redirects it towards the new object. So in a way, peripheral awareness helps us to stay alert to our surroundings and helps us to use attention as effectively as possible. So when peripheral awareness doesn't do its job, attention moves blindly without guidance and can be taken off guard. Fortunately, not every experience needs to be overanalyzed, right? Otherwise, attention will be very overwhelmed. Peripheral awareness then takes care of those things without invoking attention or focus or concentration. If you are just starting your practice, I think it's important to know a few of these tips. So you can do meditation while standing, while walking as well. But I think sitting is a really good starting point, a good position to kind of start in. And when you are sitting, it's important to kind of be aware of your posture. Like, are you slouching? How are you sitting? Are you comfortable? Because you need to be relaxed. You can even have your eyes closed as well, if you find that helpful. Or if you prefer, just to kind of have a soft gaze on like an object in front of you. I think it's also important to do whatever is necessary to kind of re-energize yourself back to that state of alert awareness. So kind of doing meditation when you're feeling quite drowsy isn't recommended because it requires a lot of motivation and dedication, right? So you need to be alert as well. So drowsiness is often referred to as sinking, which feels like being caught in mental quicksand. Sinking is a sign that maybe you didn't re-energize the mind enough. So it's about kind of using those antidotes to, I guess, keep the drowsiness away so it doesn't return for at least, quite some time. So one example of trying to re-energize yourself before you start meditating is to maybe like splash water on your face just to kind of wake you up a little bit. So I think we've mentioned before that prayer, Salah, so when Muslims pray to God, it looks like an act of meditation, the act of worship, the actions that we kind of do, the way that we move, it's like a form of meditation. And before we pray, we have to cleanse ourselves, so we do wudu. And it's interesting how, like, waking up to pray Fajr, so the morning prayer, or to even pray the Tahajjud, which is the night prayer, can sometimes be very difficult because it's just so hard to get out of bed, especially during the colder days and months. But once you've kind of done wudu and you've got water on your face and your hands, you wake up a little bit, right? It's just about trying to get through that first hurdle, so that drowsiness, the lack of energy in the morning, and just about finding those antidotes to keep you energized, I think, is very important. So I think it was interesting that this book actually mentioned how just a simple thing like splashing water on your face, like doing wudu, can really wake you up so you can go ahead and meditate and worship God and pray Salah. Obviously, the breath is very important in mindfulness. You probably hear it a lot. And you might find it a bit difficult to focus on the breath. And if you do find that is the case, then what you can do is expand awareness to include bodily sensations. So how your body's feeling, the sounds around you as well, but also trying not to lose attention on the breath. And then when you feel alert again, you then try to bring the focus back to the sensations at the tip of your nose. So that's where you're taking the breath from. So what you're trying to do is to find that right balance, which can be difficult, but the more you practice, it does get a little bit easier. And another thing that's important as well is intention. And I think we've spoken about this in a previous episode, in one of our guest episodes actually, where it's all about the intention, right? What is your mind set on? Why do you want to practice mindfulness? Why is it important to you? How can you encourage yourself to kind of get up every morning and do some meditation? So it does come down to intention. And I guess it's a bit like doing some behavior activation as well. So we've spoken about that before, where scheduling, planning, making time for things is a good way to motivate yourself to go and do that thing. If we have it planned out, we're more likely to kind of stick to it. If we can see that it's scheduled, we're more likely to look forward to it. And that can kind of help you with being regular with your practice. If you kind of have the intention to meditate every morning at a set time, after Fajr or just before you start work, then it becomes a bit easier to practice it regularly and to make it a part of your life. So intention is definitely quite a big thing. Just wanted to read another paragraph from the book that I really liked. It actually starts off with a question, actually. So, will a seed sprout more quickly if you keep digging it up and replanting it? No, right? So, try not to let impatience or frustration stop you from practicing or convince you that you need to seek out a better or easier practice. Getting annoyed with every instance of mind wandering is like tearing up the garden to get rid of the weeds. Chasing after meditative joy is like prying open a bud so it will blossom more quickly. Impatience and striving won't make anything grow faster. It's important to be patient and trust in the process. Care for the mind like a skilled gardener, and everything will flower and fruit in due time. I feel like that last sentence isn't just about mindfulness or meditation, right? I feel like a lot of things in life require patience. God is the best of all planners. He knows what is best for you. And sometimes you might feel like you're in a deep hole and it's very hard to get out and you can't really see or imagine a way out of it. But having that patience, that sabr, is so important, and it's the best way to keep going. I think it's a really nice sentence, and I think it's something we should all remind ourselves of. And obviously, mind wandering is when a thought comes to mind. So you're thinking about that client that you need to call back, or that email that you need to send, or how the next day is going to look for you, and if you'll even be able to finish everything on your to-do list for the week. Just something that's on your mind, something that's bugging you, something that's bothering you, it will wander into your mind because we are human, and that is what brains do. So getting annoyed at yourself for that happening isn't going to be helpful at all. And if anything, when you're first starting up with your practice, that will probably happen quite a lot. And it's just about recognizing that it has come to mind and just putting it to the side, just setting it down for a little bit. And it can be very disruptive when you are having thoughts, like difficult thoughts, when you're trying to relax. But it's not about getting frustrated at yourself for having those thoughts. Those thoughts are there because they're important to you. It's there for a reason. But it's about trying to kind of train yourself to understand that there are certain times of the day, there are certain moments where those thoughts just need to be put down for a bit. And those thoughts can be picked up again at another time when you're ready to kind of have your full focus and attention on them and to actually deal with them and to manage the thought. So to kind of maybe come up with a plan on how to deal with that thought, or to kind of accept that there's nothing you can do about that thought. Maybe it's about letting it go as well, trying to accept that there's nothing you can do about this situation. So obviously there's different ways to manage those thoughts, but it's also important to not be angry at yourself for thinking and feeling that way, because there's a reason why the thought is there, right? But when you're doing your meditation practice or when you're trying to sleep, it's about trying to kind of just tell yourself, now is not the time for me to think about this thought. And mind wandering is something that can also happen during prayer, so Salah. You might be thinking about if you made the intention correctly at the start of the prayer, or what you're going to do after you finish praying Salah. And that's because we can't switch our brain off, like our thoughts will be there. But there is a way to kind of manage that a bit better, and I think it's called khushūዕ. So having that focus and concentration during Salah. So where your main focus is on praying and the words that you're saying. I have a book about how to kind of practice khushūʿ, and I'll make sure to put the link in the description because I think it would be helpful for others to read. But I think it's nice to know that it's something that you can practice and work on. So you can strengthen your concentration and your ability to kind of focus in prayer and meditation. Like, of course, it will take time to master that. But if you have the intention to get better at it, I think, that's what's most important. And obviously God can see that you're trying as well to maintain that khushūʿ during Salah. So yeah, I just thought that was a nice link there. So mind wandering can definitely happen during meditation, but it can also happen during Salah when you're praying. But it is possible to kind of, manage those thoughts a bit better, to be more mindful and more in the moment. So I'm going to get started with the guided meditation exercise now. So this exercise is called progressive muscle relaxation. So what is progressive muscle relaxation? Progressive muscle relaxation is an exercise that reduces stress and anxiety in your body by having you slowly tense and then relax each muscle. So this exercise can provide an immediate feeling of relaxation, but it's best to practice it frequently. With experience, you'll become more aware of when you are experiencing tension, and you'll then have the skills to help you to relax. During this exercise, each muscle should be tensed, but not to the point of strain. If you have any injuries or pain, you can skip the affected areas. Pay special attention to the feeling of releasing tension in each muscle and the resulting feeling of relaxation. So, let's begin. Sit back or lie down in a comfortable position. Shut your eyes if you are comfortable to do so. Begin by taking a deep breath and notice the feeling of air filling your lungs. Hold your breath for a few seconds. Release the breath slowly and let all the built up tension leave your body. Take in another deep breath and hold it. Again, slowly release the air. Even slower now, take another breath. Fill your lungs, hold the air. Slowly release the breath and imagine the feeling of tension leaving your body. Now move your attention to your feet. Begin to tense your feet by curling your toes and the arch of your foot. Hold on to that tension and notice what it feels like. Release the tension in your foot. Now notice that new feeling of relaxation. Next, begin to focus on your lower leg. So tense the muscles in your calves as best as you can. Hold them tightly and pay attention to this feeling of tension. And again, release the tension from your lower legs. Notice that new feeling of relaxation. And remember to continue taking those deep breaths. Next, tense the muscles of your upper leg and pelvis. So you can do this by tightly squeezing your thighs together. Make sure you feel tenseness without going to the point of strain. And release. Feel the tension leave your muscles. Now begin to tense your stomach and chest. So you can do this by sucking your stomach in, squeeze harder, hold the tension just a little bit longer, And then release the tension and allow your whole body to go limp. Let yourself notice that feeling of relaxation. Continue to take deep breaths. Breathe in slowly. Notice the air fill your lungs. Continue taking deep breaths. Breathe in slowly, noticing the air filling your lungs, and hold it. Release the air slowly, feel it leaving your lungs. Next, tense the muscles in your back by bringing your shoulders together behind you and hold them tightly. Tense them as hard as you can without straining and keep holding. Then release the tension from your back. Feel the tension slowly leaving your body and the new feeling of relaxation. Notice how different your body feels when you allow it to relax. Tense your arms all the way from your hands to your shoulders, making a fist, and squeeze all the way up your arm and hold it. Release the tension from your arms and shoulders and notice the feeling of relaxation in your fingers, hands, arms, and shoulders. Notice how your arms feel limp and at ease. Move up to your neck and head. Tense your face and your neck by distorting the muscles around your eyes and mouth. Then release the tension, again noticing the new feeling of relaxation. Finally, tense your entire body. So tense your feet, legs, stomach, chest, arms, head and neck. Tense as hard as you can without straining. Hold that tension. Now release and allow your whole body to go limp. Pay attention to the feeling of relaxation and how different it is from that feeling of tension. Now begin to wake your body up by slowly moving your muscles, being very gentle. Adjust your arms, your legs, stretch your muscles, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Whether your day has just started or is almost ending, I hope you're having a lovely day or have had a lovely day, and I hope you all have an amazing week ahead. I hope the week ahead isn't too stressful, and if it is, I hope you are able to find an outlet for your stress. A lot of life is about managing, and I hope you are able to figure out what works best for you, what your helpful and unhelpful behaviours are. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed listening, and we'll catch up again soon, inshallah. Bye!